I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the steps it takes in order to change out a light fixture so that you guys can get rid of something that's old, outdated, whatever it is that you wanna do as far as updating your guys' place. Light fixtures is definitely something that I think could be done easily and cheaply, but upgrade the appearance of your property. All right, you guys, these are the tools that you're generally gonna need or use in order to go ahead and change out a light fixture. All right, one of the things before we get started yanking this old one down and then putting the new one up is that you have the new light fixture. Make sure that you go through, read the manual, and you have all the parts. Heaven forbid you took this thing down, unwired everything, you go to put the new one up, and you don't have the necessary parts in order to actually install it. That would be a nightmare. So just make sure you go through the packaging and you've got everything. Okay, so one of the other things you want to make sure that you do is stay safe. You're working with electricity, you could get electrocuted. How do we do that? Well, you could go downstairs or wherever your circuit breaker is, shut that particular circuit breaker to ensure that you're not getting any power to the light fixture, or, well, you should be doing that anyway, or you can simply just hit the light switch. Make sure nobody comes in behind you and flicks this thing on, otherwise you're gonna get a very horrible surprise. But the one thing I definitely recommend that you have is one of these. It's a voltage detector, and I'll show you how I use this a little bit later, but it'll help you make sure that there's no power, whether the light switch is off or whether the circuit breaker has been turned off. All right, so we're gonna turn the electricity off via the switch, but just remember, if your light bulbs have been on for a while, they're gonna be hot. So you're gonna need a rag in order to unscrew them so you're not burning your fingers. All right, one of the other things that you may have to face is that usually when people paint the wall, they'll end up getting paint, or sometimes when it's installed, there'll be some caulking here. So if you use your utility knife to cut that away, now obviously be careful, don't cut yourself, but you're gonna wanna cut that away in order to be able to actually pull the light fixture or the mount for the light fixture off the wall. Okay, now we're at the point where we've taken enough of the light fixture down that we're now looking at wiring. So what do we do at this point? Because some of you are gonna freeze and be like, oh my gosh, wiring, I don't wanna sit here and move anything or touch anything or do anything. Okay, well this is where that volt detector comes into play. So you turn it on, however yours works, and you're gonna put it up to all of the wiring, all of it. Because you, even myself, is not a licensed electrician. All of this is supposed to do is actually detect whether or not there's actual hot or live current going on, and it'll beep, literally loudly, like beep, 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 if it detects power. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the light fixture to show you exactly what that sounds like. You hear that? That's power. Now I flip the switch back on, the light fixture, the light switch on the wall. So now there's power going to these wires. I'll turn it back off and you'll see that there's no more power. No more power. So we're safe. This right here will, in a sense, save your life, or at least prevent you from some serious injury. This is why this is important. Okay, now that we know that there's no electricity, we can safely touch these wires and we're not gonna get electrocuted. Now, what you're gonna find is you're gonna find these wire nuts. All they do is they connect the light fixture to the actual wiring in the wall. So you're gonna unscrew these so that you can separate the old light fixture from the wiring in the wall, and you're gonna need to do that in order to take this thing completely down. Okay. I don't know how many guys I'm going to get watching this video and be like, oh, I would have done it like this. All right, now that we've disconnected all the wiring. So the wiring from the wall and the wiring to the old light fixture. So you've got the hot and you've got the neutral and you have the ground. The ground is just the wire that's completely bare. It has no coating on it, all right? But once all of that has been disconnected, you can easily go ahead and slide the old light fixture off. And now be prepared to put the new light fixture on. All right, now one of the other things that you might discover that you didn't realize is probably gonna happen is that when you take off an old light fixture, you're probably gonna end up seeing some old or older paint color that you don't currently have on the rest of the wall because either the painter is lazy, well, I'm not gonna say lazy because most likely they're not gonna take off an old light fixture to paint behind it, but you're gonna get older paint. So realize that, hey, you may have to match the paint you have currently in your house in order to fix up whatever may be going on behind the light fixture. Just a quick tip. Okay, one of the other things that I'm gonna tell you that it was important to me because I ended up making the mistake. When you're dealing with light fixtures, they're always above your sink. So what we have in the sink, we've got a drain. And the worst thing you could do is when you're handling small screws is drop something and now it ends up going down the drain. So quick tip before you start screwing and unscrewing stuff or handling the small parts, plug the drain so that you don't have this thing disappear. Okay, so in any packaging for your new light fixture, you're gonna end up seeing a little package like this. And it's gonna have your wire nuts, it's gonna have the screws needed to be able to go ahead and mount your lighting fixture up on the wall. And you're gonna find something like this. This is almost pretty universal. So this is what you're gonna use. That's gonna end up bracing the new light fixture up against the electrical box that's in the wall. All right, so we've got our bracket that we're gonna use to mount the new light fixture. Now this big hole right here, that you're gonna slide the wires from the wall and then you're gonna line up. They've got all these different little holes and little slots that you could put the mounting screws that you're gonna use to mount this to the electrical box. All right, now one of the tools I use is a level. And the reason why that is because your mounting bracket has to be in the right position. Otherwise, everything else that attaches to that is gonna be off if this is off. So you wanna make sure that you've got it level. As long as that's level, that'll assist you as you're proceeding with mounting everything else. All right, now that we've got everything ready for the new light fixture, I'm going to mount it. But one of the things we need to do is the wiring that's already in the new light fixture, we got to wire up to the wires that are in the wall. Okay, now I've prepared the new light fixture's wiring. So just so you know, there's going to be various different numbers of wires depending on how many lights that you have. Now this one has 4, but the important thing is the color coding on the wiring. On the wall, you've got a black and you've got a white, and then you've got a bare wire, which is the ground. You got same here, white, black, and bare. So like I said, you got the black, you've got the white, and you have the bare wire. You want to match the colors together. White with white, black with black. Damn! All right, let's start wiring the new light fixture up to the wall. All right, it's tight. I can pull on this ground here and it will not move. It will not come out of here. So we're good. Now, the one thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put electrical tape around these nuts.
That's what she said.
I'm going to tape it all around the wires so that these do not come loose. I do not want the wire nut to come loose later. And now we've got wires kind of flopping around in there. That can end up causing an arc, and you could end up getting a fire that way. So this is just some prevention. Electrical tape, and you're gonna tape these up. Okay, now, as we come closer, you're gonna see how I ended up taping up the nuts with the electrical tape. You see how It wraps all the way around. That's going to hold the nut in place so we don't end up having any movement as it's in the wall. Cool? All right, now one of the last things that we're going to do when it comes to the wiring is you're going to have to be mindful of how much space you have, because we're going to bend these wires so that all of this ends up fitting in the wall. Okay, now that we're done with all the wiring, it's now time to go ahead and actually mount the lighting fixture to the bracket that we've attached to the electrical box. All right, so now that we have the new light fixture up, I've taken one of the old bulbs from the old light fixture, screwed it in just as a test. We're now going to hit the light switch to make sure that everything is working. Here goes nothing. All right, make sure that when you go in and you test this, you don't have a busted bulb, because otherwise you're going to feel like a fool. All right, you guys, so this is to show you that it is very simple to go ahead and actually take care of tasks like this on your own without having to shell out, a couple $100 to a professional electrician or a handyman to do this for you. Now, obviously, if you're absolutely uncomfortable with doing this, or you have, the incapability or the tools in order to get it done, do whatever you have to do. But for those who are willing to take on this task for yourself, I encourage you to actually do this. Now, why did I go ahead and I make a video on a how-to to put a light fixture in? Well, this is all about real estate. This is what this channel is about. This is why I'm here as a licensed real estate agent, to provide you guys with the necessary information and the encouragement to be able to go ahead and take on the necessary tasks to improve your property, to build your equity, whatever it is you have to do. Maybe the motivation is to do these upgrades for your own personal pleasure. Maybe it's to go ahead and get your property ready to be put on the market. Maybe it's to go ahead and actually get your property ready to be rented out. Totally up to you. But my goal here is to provide you with the information necessary. So I hope that this helps. I hope that you guys watch several of my other videos. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.